Welcome to a Turkish tea time in Istanbul. I'll take you behind the scenes of a special day with visitors from Italy. From preparing everything at home to baking börek and rolling sarma together, to gathering around the table just as we do in Turkish homes. It's not just cooking, it's about stories, cultural connections, and traditions coming together. Setting up a spread of home-cooked dishes takes time and planning. That's why I started prepping the day before, getting everything ready for the sarma and börek. First, let's make the filling. The most important ingredient in the sarma filling is the onions. We almost use same amount of onions for the rice. So in this case I use 3 big onions, going to dice them very finely and saute in olive oil. Adding salt at the beginning helps to cook and soften the onions, so make sure to add them. I used about a teaspoon. Close the lid to help to soften with the steam and continue to saute for about 7-8 minutes. Here I have 1.5 cups of rice soaked in warm water for about 10 to 15 minutes and add to the mixture after drained. Next we're gonna add the spices. I have allspice, cinnamon teaspoon each, half a teaspoon black pepper, a teaspoon of sugar, and 2 heaped teaspoons, you can even add more, dried mint. Extra olive oil always give more taste. Drizzling some water, about 1/3 of a cup, not much. We just want to barely soften the rice. It will continue to cook after we roll it. And here are my grape leaves that I brined when it's the season, early spring. I have the recipe on the channel how to brine and keep for a year long. I will add the link into the description. I just added some hot water to soften and also get rid of the excess salt. After the filling soaked the water, I added some currants. It is also soaked in about a half an hour and it is ready to stuff our grape leaves after cooled down a little bit to touch. I always like to use a plate to spread my leaf. Place the shiny side of the grape leaf facing down so that when you roll it, the shiny side will be on top. Make sure to remove the big stem. Add enough filling, fold in the sides, and then roll gently. Be careful, not too loose, not too tight, because the rice will swell as it cooks, so the roll needs just the right amount of space. Use a wide pan to arrange your stuffed grape leaves or sarmas. It's best to limit them to 3 or 4 layers since we'll mostly be cooking them with steam. This way we won't need to add too much water at once and they'll cook perfectly. Making sarma is truly a delicate process. It's the kind of dish that disappears quickly, everyone always loves it. It may take a little time to prepare, but the result is absolutely delicious. So it's time to cook. I wanted to get all the flavors from the pan, so I drizzled the water. Used about a cup of water, only half weight to cover the sarmas, and then we will cook on low steam. To finish, I cut a round piece of baking paper and place it directly over the stuffed grape leaves. This helps keep the steam inside and prevents the leaves from darkening while they cook. I cooked the sarmas for about 50 minutes on very low. It soaked all the water, checked one if it is cooked enough. You can always drizzle and cook more. Then turn off the heat and let it cool down completely. Once the sarmas are fully cooled down, I transfer them into my tin box that I love, and it is ready to serve right from it. For the filling, boil about 5-6 medium potatoes. They only need to be cooked halfway, but I forgot and boiled them a bit longer, so they turned out softer than necessary. And also, once they are soft, make sure to drain the water immediately, otherwise the potatoes will soak it up and become too mushy. Next, I'm gonna dice a lot of onions. I have big ones, so I used 2 of them. And going to saute in olive oil. Again, I added the salt while sauteing to keep them softer. Then to add some color, I added about a teaspoon, less than teaspoon I can say, tomato and pepper paste. Then add the potatoes and mash them with potato masher. After mashing, continue to stir for a minute or so it gets all the way cooked, and well season it with enough salt and black pepper. If you want, you can also add chili flakes. Pul biber. And our potato filling is ready to make our börek after it is cooled down. Minced meat filling is another popular filling for making börek. I cut 3 big size onions. Again, you have to use a lot of onions to make it even more flavorful. After sauteing halfway, I added the minced meat, then seasoned it with some salt, black pepper and chili flakes, pul biber. To lighten it up, I'm gonna use some bulgur. So I have tin bulgur wheat, just soaked in some water, drizzled, and wait for 5 minutes. Then add it into my minced meat mixture. This is optional, but this way you get more filling and it lightens. Sometimes it can be a little bit heavier if the fat of the minced meat is too much. I also added some chopped parsley, and to give some color and flavor, a little bit of tomato paste. You can also add cumin to this mixture, by the way. And another best ingredient you can add into this mixture, some chopped walnuts. And our minced meat bulgur walnut filling is ready. We can now begin to shape our böreks. One of my favorite way of shaping the börek is rolls. In Turkey, generally we have these round shape, hand-rolled yufka sheets, filo sheets. So I spread one, and to brush, to dampen, I use here only vegetable oil. You can also use olive oil. This way it becomes more crispier. If you want softer, lighter version, you can mix some eggs, oil and milk and dampen with the sauce. I cut them into 8, becomes a triangle, and to the long side of the triangle I place the potato filling and then roll and twist, and it becomes a rose shape. Don't make it too tight, otherwise you cannot bend the second part. The yufkas can break down, and continue to shape. Since I did this preparation the day before serving, I placed them into a container to bake the next day. Over the years, I shared many different börek recipes on my channel, either with ready filo sheets, yufka, or made from scratch. This is another one you can shape in triangles. So I'm trying to make an even surface, so I cut the sides a little bit, dampen again with vegetable oil. Now going to cut them into long strips first. You can make them smaller or bigger. Place to the side, and this time fold it into triangles. Make sure the end is dampened well so it seals nicely, and continue to shape your triangle böreks like this. This way it becomes beautiful layers when you continue to fold and create a crispy outer shell. Again, you can either bake them right away or place into containers, freeze them and bake whenever you want, either in small batches in the air fryer. For the menu, I made 2 different desserts. This one is something simple yet special, tahini rolls with hazelnuts. Just like börek, we use filo, but this time the thin baklava sheets. I layered 3 sheets, brushing each with a mixture of tahini and a little vegetable oil. On the top sheet, I sprinkle some sugar and plenty of crushed hazelnuts. Then I roll it up tightly, slice into pieces, and place them on a baking tray. Once baked, they turn golden, crispy, and irresistible, perfect with a cup of Turkish tea. If you like the full recipe, you'll find the link in the description. The second dessert I made is a true Turkish classic, şekerpare, little pieces of sweetness. It starts with a soft cookie-like dough that's shaped and baked until golden. Right after baking, you pour cooled simple syrup over the top. The cookies slowly soak it in, becoming tender and full of flavor. A timeless, comforting dessert and always a favorite on the Turkish table. Also check the description for the full recipe. The next day I took our shaped böreks and arranged them on trays. Before baking, I brushed the tops with egg wash, then sprinkled some with sesame seeds and others with nigella seeds for extra flavor. Into a preheated 190 Celsius degree oven they went, and soon turned perfectly golden, crispy and beautiful. They were ready to enjoy at our Turkish tea time experience Warm, flaky, and just the way we love them. 3 hours later, our table was set for the demo class, with a lovely group of visitors from Italy gathered around. Salt and black pepper. That's how you usually make it.
So you added some tomato.
I began by explaining the different fillings we use for börek and showing step by step how to shape them. Soon everyone got hands-on, rolling, folding and creating their own böreks. It's such a joy watching the excitement as they experience Turkish cooking traditions right at the table.
Let's move to the second recipe so we can eat.
Next, we moved on to the second recipe, sarma, rolled stuffed grape leaves.
Spice too?
I introduced the spices first,
Yes.
then demonstrated the rolling technique, and once again, it was their turn to try.
In holidays we make it a lot too. Like we have 2 major holidays after the Ramadan. So in Bayram we say.
After the workshop, we set the table with all the delicious food I had prepared. It turned into a true Turkish time, just the way we gather in the afternoons at home. We shared conversations about Turkish and Italian cultures, the similarities, the differences, and of course, our favorite foods.
Parma they do with Parmigiano Reggiano with donkey meat.
Şekerpare means pieces of sweet. It is kind of a cookie soaked in syrup.
Eh sì, buona ragazzi.
This one you ate was the Istanbul version, a palace version. In the Ottoman times, the flavors were coming from the spices, dried fruits in the savory recipes as well.
It was such a beautiful time together, and who knows, maybe one day you'll find yourself at this table too.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it very much. It's a real lot of experience. Yeah, and I really like the sarma. And that one were like the best I ever. Going to prepare it, try.
Yeah.
It in Italy.
Yeah, please send me the photos if you try, okay?
Private.
Yes, yes.